Yeah, sounds good to me. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is another episode of Unfiltered Copenhagen. I'm with you, one of your hosts, Ford, and with me is Rodolfo.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Um, was enjoying Distortion the past couple of days,
Yeah.
and yesterday I got some time to rest after that. And yeah, because I like the street parties on Distortion. I'm not so crazy about the island thing. It's more like a regular festival,
Yeah.
and it feels a bit less special. I mean, it's a cool festival. I did it once because I was volunteering, and it was actually, I mean, it's there's a lot of stages, and it's on Refsaloon, and I mean it's nice. But what I really like is the street parties and seeing these normal mundane streets filled with, I think they said 80 to 85,000 people this year.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's crazy. Did you try out any of those luxury toilets?
No, I didn't. You needed to have an armband.
Ah,
And I know. Shame on me. I should have bought one. I think I bought them a few years previously because I do like to support the festival.
yeah.
This year, it just kind of, I don't know. I guess I forgot about it.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm always curious about what a luxury toilet is going to look like.
yeah, I know someone who tried them. That I get to go take a shit during Distortion, which sounds like a pretty big fucking ordeal to me, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, people banging on the door. Are
Yeah,
you are
and I
you done
mean,
yet in there?
when you have 80,000 people, and granted, not everybody's going to have an armband. Maybe most of them don't, but those toilets are not going to be, probably not like
Luxury
pristine. Yeah, I don't know what they call luxury. I think luxury is just in comparison to
to
the
the other
usual
ones.
pissoirs.
Yeah. But speaking of that, I sent you that image. My girlfriend saw a picture on Instagram of a girl that's like, she's I guess needs to take a piss, and maybe she didn't have access to one of those luxury toilets. It seemed because she's hanging over the bridge. Her friend is like holding her hands, and then she's leaned back, squatting over the bridge, just pissing right off of there. And that's like some nice teamwork.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you got to
that's
do what
what
you
you
got to do.
that's what you have friends for, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's a real friend when you just need to take a piss, and I mean, she could just basically release you and you drop into the water.
yeah,
Probably not going to drown. I think it was on the canals, maybe on the harbor. I don't know,
yeah. I'm not sure if
but
that was
still,
at the lakes or the canal or what, but yeah,
I mean, you need someone to hold you there while you're on what one might say one of the most
compromising.
yeah, intimate in a way, or moments, and you're just doing it out there in public. It's a fascinating picture, and I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but I think it represents Copenhagen relatively well, or at least Distortion. Was that during Distortion?
I think so. Yeah, I am pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it must actually be kind of.
It's like a Renaissance photo.
Yeah, you just put some sepia tone there. You do some image treatment. And maybe you remove some. I don't
Well,
know.
it's already her face and everything is already blurred out, so it's not. You can't tell who it is.
No, but to make it, I I think I was gonna say that I think it must actually be pretty fucking hard to be a girl in a situation like
In a
this.
festival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because not even a festival, but something like this, where you have relatively limited amount of toilets on the street, and you have a insane influx of people,
Yeah.
and then you need to take a piss. And if you're a guy, I mean, you can do it pretty much anywhere. I mean, you might get a fine. A lot of people got fined this
Yeah,
year.
I heard they were really cracking down on pissing on the street this
Yeah,
year.
it was one of the biggest complaints, I guess, from
The locals.
the locals, people who live in Norpo and Westerpo.
Yeah. Well, after about a day, that piss starts to smell disgusting. Like especially around like Eastergel, like on the backside of Central Station, that area smells quite strongly of piss usually.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, of the fest. It's not like during the 363 days of the year that distortion doesn't happen on the street. That the streets are all pristine.
No.
But I understand it's a problem. It's an issue, especially when people piss on people's
Property.
front door. Just like on the,
Yeah.
because they just find anywhere where it's not just a wall.
Yeah, when you gotta go, Dolph. You just open up. I
Mm,
think when we were in Greece, I think we may have pissed on a church there.
by we, you're not meaning me.
No, no, no,
Okay.
not
Okay.
you. Me and Shaban were out, like, really drunk one night, and, we're like, I mean, seemed as good a place as any, and it didn't really look like a church, but I think after, then we saw a sign up there. It was like the offices for a church or something. We just, like, pissed outside on their front wall.
Holy shit, Ford.
I know.
Do you think that's your? You're not going to heaven anymore.
If that's the criteria, then I think I wasn't going to heaven even before that. I mean, if all it took
Because
was
of pissing?
if all it took for me to get kicked out was like piss on a church office or something. Hey, I didn't even know it was until after the fact.
Well,
So
you can't use that as an excuse that you didn't
ignorance, I think
know.
in that case, ignorance is an excuse. Come on, I really
You
had
think?
to.
Well, I guess
You know what?
Jesus would forgive you.
I mean, I really had to piss, and in Greece, there was not a lot of available public toilets. They were pretty stingy about that shit. Like, you had to be
Yeah.
a paying customer at a place, and there was no real public facilities that I remember. I felt that was one thing. I was like, where the hell are all the toilets at? Like, coming from Denmark, you usually have like a pretty good opportunity to piss if you need to, wherever you're at. You know, they
Yeah,
have a
that's
pretty good
true.
amount of like public facilities, and I don't know. You can also just go into stores and shops and stuff and use it without
Yeah.
too much complaint from the locals.
I guess you're getting too used to Northern Europe for it.
Ah,
It's not.
Northern
It's
Europe.
not.
It's so
It's
nice
not the
here.
same down there.
It's so nice
Well, it's
here.
nice now
Yeah.
because the sun is out.
I mean, as long as you don't get shot.
Oh, I see what you get. That's a nice
Ah.
segue. So, what do you know about getting shot in Denmark or in Copenhagen, to
Well,
be more
I
specific?
personally don't know anything about it, but we were out last night. We were on the roof terrace having some beers and in the city center, and I got a text from my girlfriend saying that there was a shooting at Tivoli, and then she called me, and I don't know, there were some people there. Apparently, they were posting on Facebook, like, some people in some networks of hers were actually around Tivoli at the time, and they were just posting like, "Hey, there's some shooting here at Tivoli," and we were a little bit freaked out. Like, what if that was like an actual terror attack or something like that? Wouldn't that be like a terrible place for that shit to happen? Like right at Tivoli, everybody kind of, I don't know. It almost seems like a surreal kind of thing. But I guess apparently it was a domestic thing. Some guy. It's not 100% clear yet what exactly happened, except that one guy was shot in the thigh and the shoulder by police, and he had a revolver. And there was reports that he pointed it at the police. It's unclear if he shot at them once or not, but he definitely pointed it and like brandished the weapon and pointed it at them. And I think before that, I heard there was some rumors about either some domestic dispute or gang violence or something. So I don't think he was there to like shoot police. I think he was there to shoot somebody he didn't like or something like that. But um,
So you think it was premeditated, like that he actually
uh,
was there with
who
the how do you call it, the willingness or the
who carries a revolver just around in Denmark?
well,
I like it's against the
if
law. First
no,
off,
I know, but if it's a gang, like if someone who belongs to a gang, he could
yeah,
actually be carrying it in some kind of, I don't know, self-defense thing. Not saying that he wouldn't use it as an offensive measure,
yeah,
but like maybe he would be carrying it without pre-planning using it.
sure. And speaking of that, there's also, I think there's a program going on this month where the police will allow you to turn in your weapons without any penalty. I saw that on the
Oh,
news like earlier this week. But basically, it's an amnesty period where if you have like illegal weapons like knives, guns, grenades, whatever,
hmm,
you can turn it into the police to basically get it off the streets with no repercussions.
okay, that's
Which kind of seems like somebody was mentioning in some of the Reddit threads about that. Like, shouldn't you be able to do that all the time? Like, why should you have a specific month for that?
that's a fair point. Yeah,
But
yeah, that's a good point.
at the same time, there was some other arguments that's just like kind of like, well, by having it at a specific time, it like raises awareness for the fact that you can do it. Whereas if it was like all the time, maybe people wouldn't think about it. I don't know. But anyways, apparently, if you got any grenades, bombs, guns, knives, whatever, you can contact police and either I think for those more dangerous weapons, they want to come pick it up. They don't want you to be carrying that shit.
Yeah, to the station,
Um,
to the police station.
but yeah, apparently you can turn those in, no problems. And I know this was a problem for people. There was like a knife law passed within the past few years where a bunch of knives that were previously allowed are now considered illegal. And it screwed a lot of people over because then suddenly one day they were legal and the next day they weren't, and then there wasn't really a good way for them to.
Dispose of them.
Yeah, I mean, what if they wanted to follow the letter of the law? Like, how do they do that? They can't just throw it away? Do they need to go? So I don't know if they ever did like a turn-in program for that. I guess maybe they did. Um, but yeah, I would be happy to get more weapons off the streets. I know you're never going to get them all.
I'd like to know the numbers of people that actually end up returning stuff. Like after when is this day?
I'm not sure. I can try to look it up here, but
Do you think we have any listeners who might be like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Let's return my illegal
um,
guns or weapons."
yeah, let's see. Uh,
Then
I mean, I don't know if we'll have any listeners that will have any illegal weapons, but if they do, yeah, Denmark government grants gun amnesty in bid to reduce firearms. Danes in possession of illegal firearms have been given the opportunity to hand them in to authorities without risking prosecution in a special amnesty introduced by the Ministry of Justice. Weapons can be given up to police freely between June 1st and June 30th, so all this month.
okay,
Um, yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
I think it's nice. It reminds me of something. There was I don't know if this was this year or last year, but somewhat recently in the UK, there was some law that passed that basically created a loophole where people could, or a lot of illegal drugs, or people couldn't be prosecuted for carrying or consuming illegal drugs. It was something along these lines,
yeah.
and uh, and basically that during a 24-hour period until they rectified that law, people were just free to,
Do any kind of drugs they wanted.
yeah, just on the street, whatever,
So
because
it's a bit like the purge, really.
well, it feels it's somewhat similar. It's like there's this time period where you're not going to get prosecuted for having this illegal thing with you. It's not a month old thing, and it was a mistake.
Yeah. Oh, you were asking about those numbers. It actually says similar amnesties in 2009 and 2013 both resulted in tens of thousands of weapons being submitted to police. According to the ministry, with 9,589 weapons, I guess, in 2009 and 19,426 weapons
In Denmark?
handed in 2013. Yeah.
Wow, 19,000. That's a lot.
Well, the total of those two times is like 30,000.
Yeah, but that's two different years. I mean, I just picked the biggest one, and 19,000 in 1 year. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of weapons. I guess I wouldn't expect it to be. That's a lot of illegal weapons.
Yeah. Well, last year there were 54 shooting incidents in public places related to biker gangs and other gang related conflicts. That's not how things should be in Denmark. Everybody should be able to go safely wherever they want. Paulson said in a statement. Paulson's the justice minister.
What kind
right?
of
Yeah.
do you know if this is only This is only or mostly firearms? Or
I'm pretty sure this. It said the aim of the amnesty is to reduce the number of weapons such as guns, knives, and hand grenades in circulation. Can you believe like some guy with a hand,
Hand
grenade? Holy
grenades.
shit,
I don't
man!
know.
But yeah, weapons as well as ammunition and explosive material can be handed in anonymously during the amnesty period without any charges being brought for acquiring or possessing. And again, I think like you need to call the police in advance. Like you probably shouldn't just like bring a gun up to a cop and then hand it to him.
Mhm.
They need to know what's going on in advance. But yeah, there you go. If you have a leftover AK-47 you're just holding on to for any reason, you
Unless
can
you
get
have a
rid of.
license to
The
have it.
thing is, I think a lot of the weapons in Denmark too are from like after the war. Their family like kept some weapons, and there's no actual way to keep guns, I think, anymore here for historical purposes unless you completely ruin the gun, and that means the barrel has to be cut entirely lengthwise, and all of the action has to be completely like cut widthwise or through the breech, and all the operating machinery of the gun has to basically be completely ruined for you to be able to keep it for historical purposes, which is kind of silly, right? Because if you cut the gun in half in like three places, it's not really a historic representation of the gun
No.
anymore. So I think there's a lot of people who have like family heirloom type things that were after the war and like were sentimental, and they'll probably hold on to those unregistered guns forever, until they
Yeah.
get caught.
Can't you like? I mean, it would still ruin the gun, I guess. But can't you just fill up the barrel with some kind of, I don't know, cement or something like that. I mean, that would kind of ruin the gun as well, right?
Yeah, but I think the law here requires it be like destroyed in a separate way. There are some laws like that I think in different parts of the world about rendering the firearm useless. But the way they have it written here, I don't believe obstructing the barrel is one because you can always just then drill the barrel out. I mean, there's so many workarounds to any of these things, but yeah, I mean, if you're actually holding a like an old like mint condition weapon for historical or collector's
Yeah,
purposes or
because
something, ruining the gun basically ruins all value of it
yeah,
anyway. So
yeah. So it's like you either sell it or you give it, but you can't keep that. And like, oh, your grandfather fought in the war and he left you
yeah,
this. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. So I think a lot of people keep it because if it's hidden away, like nobody's ever going to know unless it gets stolen and used or something.
yeah. And
But
if they're not planning on using it either.
exactly, I mean, it's a sentimental thing. So I don't know. There's probably still quite a bit of guns here in Denmark, like not anywhere near the amount in the U.S., but surely they're floating around.
My grandfather used to have a rifle.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he hunted or why he had it, but yeah, he used to have a rifle.
there you
I
go.
just remember it from being a kid. He had it in his I don't know, in his closet or above his closet or something like that.
Yeah, so from what I saw on some of these articles about the shooting near Tivoli, at first we thought it was in Tivoli, which would have been like, I guess probably
That'd have been troublesome.
it
Yeah,
could have been
more
troublesome,
troublesome.
right?
It
But it
feels.
was
Yeah,
outside on like H.C. Anderson's Boulevard, maybe or
yeah,
something.
and Stormgale.
And apparently, like right away, there was like 25 to 30 armed police there with like submachine guns, so they weren't fucking around.
Okay, when you say right away, it was like literally right, like a
Probably
minute or
probably within minutes. I mean, you don't think they have some police there deployed at like Central Station and other kind of critical central locations
yeah,
ready to
maybe.
go?
And
I mean,
the headquarters in Westerport, it's on Hamto. It's really not that far,
yeah,
you know. It's like a
yeah, and the city
1 minute
the
drive.
city is small. Traffic isn't too bad. Like the cars can get where they need to go quickly too. I bet they were pretty quickly mobilized. And I mean, I bet also Tivoli has a bunch of surveillance and security guard like
Oh, they
monitoring
probably
what's
have
going
some.
on,
Yeah,
and they're probably in close connection too.
yeah. I've never heard of an incident like that at Tivoli. I don't know if it's because they're really good
I'm pretty sure it's probably because they're
at
really
that.
like they have a lot of experience and they're really good at that. Because I think Disney, like all the Disney World stuff too, like
Yeah.
those guys are so serious about
Mhm.
what they do. Because you want to create like an environment that feels safe for the guests and feels fun, you know?
Do you know if they? I believe they check people's like bags when you go in Tivoli, but I'm not actually
Yeah,
sure because I don't have one.
I don't remember because last time we went, I don't know if I brought my backpack or not. I don't remember getting checked very specifically when I went in Tivoli, but I think if you had a bigger bag, yeah, they probably just go through it and make sure you don't have anything you shouldn't have. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna let you through there with just anything, right?
I would assume not. I mean, it would be a big
I mean,
PR
again,
problem as well.
if it's a bag, I think they're gonna check it. If it's just on your person, I don't think they like pat you down or scan you or anything like that. But
That just reminds me, it's been a long time since I've been to Tivoli.
yeah, we should go.
I mean,
The,
even if you have like one of those Tivoli cards, I think if you just go there 2 times a year, it
it's worth it.
might pay itself.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you can go to Tivoli and not even ride anything. You know, it's just a night.
Yeah,
It's like
just
going to
walk
a
around,
park.
have a good
Even
time. And also one of the listeners of the podcast and one of the viewers of my Twitch stream, he actually is like a manager at the restaurant, one of the Italian restaurants there. So he said he would hook it up with like some good stuff if we went there.
oh, nice Italian
So,
restaurant.
yeah, yeah, we've been there before. It's really good.
Oh, you have been
Yeah,
been there
it's
before.
one of the top two Italian restaurants in my opinion in Copenhagen. My favorite one is Venetia. That's the place on Newhound, which is again it's funny because it's like a touristy thing, but actually the food is really good and it's not very expensive either.
What did you
Um,
like about it? Besides, I guess
about which about either of them
well, yeah, but your favorite one, that
in Newhound.
Venetia, yeah.
There's a server there. The waiter there has been there for like at least I don't know how long he's been there before we came, but he's been there at least 3 or 4 years, and he's basically like the main server there, and you can tell his service is like 3 times as good as anything you would normally expect in Denmark. Because service here isn't really like a big priority because it's not a
Mhm.
tipping economy, and also I guess just people don't care as much. So it's not like quite like a U.S. level of service. Most places you go, people aren't as helpful as far
And
as like
sometimes too helpful.
as wait staff. Yeah, and that's true. I'm not saying that it's like the best in the world in the U.S. I think sometimes they're annoying because they keep coming by you got a full mouth of food, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, how is everything okay?" And you're like, you know, like trying to like mouth out that it's okay, or you give them
Just
some thumbs up. It's just annoying because they come by your table like
every
every
15
few
minutes.
minutes, and they're like, "Can I get you anything else? You guys about ready to order a dessert? Or you want anything?"
Well, to be fair, you also get free refills there, so it makes
Yeah,
more sense for them to come
I guess
more
so.
regularly.
It also feels like they're trying to get you out too quickly. But I think there's some balance of like good service between how lazy sometimes Danish servers are and how overbearingly annoying sometimes American servers are. There's
Yeah.
somewhere in the
Oh, for
middle
sure.
that's the right. And anyways, this guy that it's at Newhound, he's first off, he's like the best server I've basically had, I think, besides Noma. I mean, but that's a different kind of experience.
Yeah.
Um, he's like funny, he's friendly, he's nice, he gets the shit you need to you. If he sees that you like that you need something, he'll come there. Otherwise he'll leave you alone. And then the food is amazing. I usually have the steamed salmon there with some vegetables on the side, and then I have like an apple pie as the dessert.
Ooh, how American of
And
you for it.
oh man, the apple pie they have is so good. It's incredible.
I like apple pie.
It is really like incredible and flaky and tender, and then they serve it with this badass vanilla ice cream. I don't know if they make it themselves or what, but and it's been consistent every single time we've gone there. The food is like 10 out of 10.
So the apple pie pleases your American standards.
It's not even about it being American. I mean, who doesn't like some apple pie with some vanilla ice cream on the side, Dolph? Fresh apple pie, warm, cold ice cream, both of them top notch. Come on, Dolph.
Oh, you're selling it.
Are you
I'm,
feeling hungry for an
eating-
apple pie right now?
Hungry is the wrong word, but
You know-
I could definitely.
Well, we got some strawberry shortcake ice cream in there that has a layer of white chocolate on top. I picked that up last night. It's some new type of Ben and Jerry's. It's called Topped, and it's like a strawberry shortbread. The whole thing is like the entire top 1.5 centimeters of the pint of ice cream is just pure like white chocolate. So you have to put the spoon down through the white chocolate and get that out of the way first to get at the ice cream underneath. Holy shit, it's good. It's pretty rich. Like it's very rich. You're not going to be. For me, I can't sit there and eat a lot of an ice cream like that because it just you start feeling like diabetes is already setting in. You know, when you're just eating it. But it's fucking good, Dolph. We're gonna have some after the podcast.
Yeah,
Come on,
maybe I'll try
We
some
should.
of it. I never eat ice
You skipped the
cream, so-
Waffelruhr last week, so this time you're gonna have some ice cream.
Yeah,
We
maybe.
gotta fatten you up. Put some meat on those bones. You know, you come to the American,
To the American home.
American home, and we're gonna fatten you up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm here just drinking some water.
Yeah, that was
0 calorie
that was a
water.
mistake. Should drink like 5 or 6 sodas.
No
you know,
soda for me,
full sugar. No. Yeah, we're trying to cut down on sodas too. We drink. I think nowadays I drink maybe 2 or 3 sodas a day, but there's been times where I've drinking like 6, 7, 8 sodas a day, which is just way too much.
The cans?
Yeah, just the cans. Like, and they're
So
diet.
like 2
they're-
liters of soda.
Yeah, and they're like diet or sugar free. They're not like the full calorie ones or anything, but still, I think if anything, just the amount of sodium that you get from them, and also the acidity of the thing is like not
Yeah.
very good for your teeth either. So
And I mean aspartame. I mean it doesn't have.
yeah, who
There's
knows
no
about
calories,
that?
but there's not really. No, I guess nobody really found anything too bad about it. But
Yeah, it's not
Uh,
really conclusive, but that it's going to cause cancer if consumed in relatively like the amount that they gave those rats that got it was like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of times more than you would have to give like you would basically have to like start consuming, I don't know, like tons of
yeah,
aspartame
by the spoonful,
by the scale,
or-
yeah, or more than by the spoonful. It's a lot, but yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I guess we'll see if there's some further news that comes out of this the shooting thing.
Yeah,
But it was a little bit of a wake up. Like I was like, you know, it feels very safe here, and generally, even stuff like this, it's handled so quickly, and I don't feel really in danger. But when somebody just texts you and they're like, "Hey, there's a shooting at Tivoli," and we were on the roof terrace and we looked over, and the rides had been going that whole time, and the rides just stopped for like, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. And we were like, wait a minute, like the rides don't just stop at Tivoli. Like all of them weren't running, the flying planes, the thing that spins you around in the air and all that. And we heard a lot of sirens and we knew something was going on. But I mean, God, that's got to be like a worst nightmare for the intelligence community, right? Some guy goes into Tivoli with like an automatic weapon and just starts mowing people down or whatever.
It was outside of Tivoli.
Yeah, right. It wasn't in, again, just to clarify. But I mean, what we heard was that there's a shooting at Tivoli,
Yeah,
right? Which is,
yeah.
of course, a little bit incorrect. It was behind it. It was near it, but yeah, I was like worried, like, oh shit. I thought the first thing in my mind, terrorist attack or
Anyway,
something.
yeah. Hopefully by next week we'll have some more details. I assume. Well, I assume. I mean, so far, most of the shooting incidents that I've heard happening were always
Gang
gang
related.
related.
Yeah, or personal vendetta or gang related or something. Yeah, it seems like they really want to do something about those gangs here, but I guess they're not very good at doing something about those gangs here.
Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know how it was 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know either, but it
But I know
sure
one
seems like
thing.
they've been trying to do that in Christiania for a long, long time. Is kick the gangsters out, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because they keeps talking about how they control all the drug trade there, and I mean, I guess those were all kicked out recently with the most recent purge, when the citizens of Christiania themselves basically tore all that shit down.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's one easy solution to taking money
What
out of their
solution is
hands.
that for it?
Well, then you legalize. You at least start by legalizing
That's
cannabis.
very controversial.
No, it's not. Jesus Christ.
Well,
If Colorado's done
it is controversial.
if Texas
for,
is considering it,
for the parliament, I guess, and maybe it's not controversial. Maybe it's not controversial in Copenhagen, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of smaller rural places, like in Jutland, were vehemently against it.
but why? It's probably the hugest opportunity for them to get even more business. I mean, most conservative or right leaning people are usually all for like private industry and more jobs and all this kind of stuff like that. So if you look at the amount of money that the windfall and the marijuana business made for Colorado, I mean, it's already like $1 billion industry in Colorado alone. And they can pay like all their like the taxes that were collected from it pays for like all the schools, educations, roads, everything there, like many times over. So just and think about it. They're out in rural Denmark. I mean, what do you have to do out there? Farm and raise pigs and
Drink,
well,
and that's the thing.
but I mean, they could be farming cannabis, if that was made legal,
I don't know,
and
I
that
don't
would
know
be.
if you can grow cannabis here. Can you, with the amount of or the lack of sunlight?
You can certainly. I mean, if you have enough space, you can certainly build
Or
indoor grow
you can grow.
operations
Yeah, that's
too.
true.
I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, nowadays the weed is so good. Everybody just grows that shit indoors with like hydroponic or aeroponic setups. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people are like turned off by smoking nowadays because the weed is just so damn strong.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's true. Or I mean, maybe they don't not smoke, but they just like take one puff and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
It's
fair,
just like
100% fine.
drinking one beer instead of drinking 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I would dare to say, and especially I've heard some from friends and from people I didn't know that I've just been talking to, that a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't do that because it just makes me really paranoid. And I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah,
because
'cause
it's so fucking strong. If you're not used to it,
Then you
even
do
if you
get
take
paranoid.
even if you just take a little bit, it
Yeah.
might get a bit overwhelming. So what's the solution for that? Just make shitty weed?
Yeah, well, I don't know if maybe that's the solution.
No, but
I was saying the solution, or part of the solution. Of course, it's not going to 100% solve the gang issue, but I mean, if you take away like some of their revenue stream like that, then you're going to have less people interested in joining. Probably, you're going to have less money for them to be able to do things with, and then you can focus police resources on the things like the actual serious crime rather than bothering people that have like a joint in their pocket.
Or they'll find something worse to do.
Yeah, fair enough, but hopefully that's easier to track or do something
yeah.
about.
I mean, I don't think that's a reason to not do it. I was
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of half joking there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't
No,
very,
but another
wasn't
another
the funniest joke.
Oh, it wasn't a haha joke. It was more a joke.
Okay.
Anyway, another of the good things about legalizing it, in my opinion, is that first you would actually know what you're getting. I mean, of course you're getting weed. There's
Yeah.
only so. It's not like people are putting weird stuff.
Well, that
when
you never know
weed.
because a lot of times they don't flush it after the fertilization process, so they use a lot of fertilizing chemicals. And there's supposed to be a period in after the flowering period, or actually as soon as the flowering period begins, you're supposed to stop all application of fertilizers. And they use insecticides too because certain bugs can be really bad. And you don't know how professionally and how well they have flushed all those extra fertilizers out, and also whether or not the pesticides they've used meet certain standards for human consumption and things like that, which often they might not be because they want the most effective pesticide possible, and it's not like it's regulated. So Who cares what
Yeah.
it's on? Nobody's going to complain. Um, so yeah, I think it's a great idea from a health standpoint. It's
But
also
not just that. I mean, when you hear these people who basically take too much because the weed is so strong. I mean,
yeah.
if it was legal,
Then you can
it would be
measure
so
how
much.
many, like the
Exactly.
percentage of THC, and know exactly
Exactly.
how strong
You
it
could
is.
have different strains with
Yeah,
different strength, which is probably what happens now. But at least you would
yeah,
know because you would grow weed
Y-
with specific
yeah. And it would
percentage
be
of
like a
THC
test
or
result. Okay,
CBD.
this one had 12.2% THC. It's a
It's
more moderate strain. It's an indica, whatever.
yeah, exactly. You basically could choose or be
What
more
you wanted.
detailed
Yeah,
in
what kind of
choosing
experience you
exactly
wanted.
what you want.
Yeah, because it's not all the same. It's like I think a lot of people have a misconception or don't really know because the strain makes probably the biggest difference, and then within an individual strain, I think that the different types always have like a little bit of a different feeling too.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm very good at telling that apart, but definitely the amount of THC, obviously, and the amount of CBD, which is non-psychoactive, but it's actually known to have anxiety reducing effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it
And see,
definitely
and
helps a lot of those kids. We've seen some videos of kids that have like seizures or other kind of like
yeah, or
autistic
even guys with
behaviors or
people with Parkinson's or
yeah.
some kind of
Yeah, I saw
yeah
some remarkable videos that it was just like, yeah, 5 minutes before they were just going kind of nuts,
yeah
and
they smoke it
right
and
after
it
they're like,
takes less than 5 minutes.
you hand them a bag of chips right after, you know?
Yeah, because I guess they got
Well,
hungry.
not just that. I mean, but they just chill out, man. Good stuff. Good stuff, Dolph. I don't know. I think they should at least start with that, and then, yeah, hopefully this weapons turn-in program. I mean, they can get some more off the street. I don't think it's ridiculous here. I think that everybody's just on a heightened sense of alert and a little bit on edge with all the other things that have gone on in Europe lately as well and around the world. Don't you think?
Yeah, what's been going on around the world
Well, I think there was
with the refugees or what?
not just that. I mean, I think there was a no. I'm not talking about refugees. There was a truck bomb or something in Saudi Arabia killed like 80 people the other day.
Oh, I must have
I
missed that.
believe. Yeah,
I
there's some other high profile stuff that's gone on, but I mean, like the truck attack in Sweden, the Nice thing.
okay, yeah,
I mean, there's just so many different things that I think a lot of people are on edge whenever they hear something like, "Oh, there's starting to be a shooting at Tivoli." Like, your mind immediately goes to the worst case scenario for a lot of people.
yeah. It didn't for me, but I mean, I kind of stopped following the news a
Yeah,
while ago
it's probably a
because
good idea.
it just made me depressed. Everything, you know. And if something really important happens, I will end up hearing about it, kind of
Yeah,
like I did about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this shooting. You know.
And to be fair, I think that this is not. This isn't really super big news. I mean, you don't hear about this stuff all the time here, so it is in essence big news because there was a shooting.
Yeah, because
But
it's rare.
it wasn't like on the grand scheme of things. This is like you know, this could have happened 38 times in Chicago in one night, you know. Nobody would have batted an eye. Which reminds me, I think we were talking. I was talking to a friend of mine, and one thing we should do. I mean, we talked a little bit about the podcast and the direction we wanted it to go, and what we're happy with, and what we want to improve, and things like that. And one of the things we talked about was that we felt like we were being too much news anchors and reading just article after article in a way, um, and getting away a little more from the commentary and the thing that I think really makes it interesting, which is the insight about it or like how we feel about it and our perspectives as expats, right? Or just as people, how we felt about it. But I was talking to a friend of mine and he was like, you guys, you know, you're both not from Denmark. So maybe you guys should do like a little news article from your hometown or from where you're from. Like just pick one thing and then just like compare and contrast. Like, okay, here's a shooting in
To
Tivoli.
compare.
Let's look and see what's happening in Houston. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone would give a shit about what's happening in my hometown.
Well, certainly that one person would give a shit.
But comparison makes it a bit more interesting, I guess. So if there was a shooting incident here, like it happened, and I just say, "Oh yeah, there was a shooting incident back in my hometown back in I don't know,
Yeah.
2009," and this is what, yeah. I don't know. To be fair,
Anyways, it was just an idea. But if you see a funny story from your hometown, we should talk
I
about
don't
it.
follow the news in my hometown. Nothing
Shouldn't you
happens
though?
there for it. That's why I left.
I
Come to
guess.
this
I
metropolis of
guess.
excitement
I
with
guess.
people pissing on the streets and dancing to music on top of cars.
Did you eat any new food last week, like at places you never been or anything? Like to try any new restaurants?
No, I was just at Distortion last week. I didn't have time to.
What did we try last week? Oh, after the podcast last week, Rain and I went to that Nice Dream place. It's 100% vegan ice cream place, and
Where?
it's in Norbro, I think. It's a little bit north. You have to go over the bridge from Norport, and then you go to the right a little bit down there. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know the north side of the city well at all because I don't live there and I never really hang out there. But it's man, it was really fucking good. I had a mint ice cream there, and vegan ice cream, you're just expecting it's gonna be
Oh
shitty
no
right
no no
away.
no 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 no
It
no.
was actually it was so creamy, and I was like,
Yeah,
"What the? How the hell is it creamy? Like, what? They didn't use any butter or cream? Like, how is that possible?" But it was Rodolfo. I highly recommend that ice or that Nice Dream place
I
or Nice
I've
Cream or
I've had
something.
really good vegan ice cream
Oh
in Italy when I was
man, it
in
was so
Rome
good.
last time as well.
It was so good. And I'm also not like when I was younger, I used to eat more ice cream. Like I could have a few scoops or whatever and just eat it. And nowadays I'm like, that's a little too rich or sweet sometimes. Like I don't really eat a lot of ice cream generally because I just feel like it's a bit heavy. And also I think the dairy products here in Denmark give me more problems. In the US I didn't have any problems with dairy. And here I definitely do. I mean, it can
Can be
be
rough.
an experience, yeah, a rough one with a fiery butthole after. Uh, but that stuff didn't give me any problems, and it was great. It was really good.
I think I stopped eating ice cream. Well, partly because I kind of tried to start avoiding sugar a few years ago.
Yeah,
And I've realized that most ice cream, I don't know if it's a low fat craze or what it is, but most ice cream actually, yeah, it's basically mostly sugar and
not
very
creamy
little
enough.
cream,
Yeah,
which kind of goes against the whole concept of ice cream, I would say.
I would say that ice cream in Denmark is quite good in that regard. Like it seems fatty enough here at some of the places I've been in comparison to the U.S.
Yeah, I
ice
just need to
cream.
find those places, I guess, because I love ice cream when it's all creamy,
Yeah, yeah.
when it's basically it doesn't even need to have that much sugar for me as long as it's fat or creamy. Yeah, but I don't know where to be fair, I don't really look out for it, but I'll try it in Novo. Okay, nice
Yeah,
cream.
I think it's called Nice Cream. Let me just make sure that's correct. I'll just look it up, just make sure I don't have it wrong. Yeah, Nice Cream in Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
Yeah, it is at El Miguel,
El Miguel, yeah, that's right
30.
in the heart of Novo,
Yep, yep,
right next to Sanctan
quite
Stove.
good. It's got really good reviews. 4.6 out of 5 stars on Google with 27 reviews. And nicecreamcph.com.
Sounds good.
Anyways, I was really a fan. You can get either scoops in a cone, a cup, and then I think they also had like an ice cream sandwich type of thing with cookies around it. So it's like a cookie sandwich with ice cream in the middle.
Hmm.
Again, I felt that was a little decadent for my taste. I was not really going all out because I had just eaten a Halifax burger as well. So I was feeling pretty full, you know. But I remember last week there was a bunch of people out on the bridge, a bunch of people with actually ridiculous portable speakers. There was some people out there with a speaker that was like 1 meter tall, and it was fucking loud. They just brought it up there like on a bike or something.
I mean, on Distortion, there was a guy with basically a speaker as a backpack. So it was,
Okay,
I would say it's probably like a meter tall as well. And he just had straps,
walking around,
yeah, walking
jamming
around
out.
like a backpack, basically.
Did he
But
have
the whole,
earplugs in?
I didn't notice.
His ears are gonna be ringing for a while. Yeah, here's a picture. Look at that, Dolph. I think this is one of the the cookie sandwiches. Look at that. That looks good.
Okay, that looks good.
Anyways, this place was quite good. I can really recommend that one. Nice cream.
Nice cream in Novo.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Norbro and Vesterbro, it looks like we got a little rivalry going.
I mean,
Well, I mean, the city, I guess, has a bit of a rivalry. Apparently, Vesterbro edged out Norbro. They had 24 arrests during Distortion, whereas Norbro only had 20. So good job, guys.
24. Did they say what those arrests were for?
Authorities arrested 24 individuals in connection with the Distortion festivities in Vesterbro on Thursday. Distortion organizers estimate that Thursday's party brought around 85,000 revelers to the streets of the city district, and most were well behaved. An estimated 80,000 attended Norbro on Wednesday. There was no serious offenses. Most of the arrests were related to common festival offenses such as drugs violations, public disruption, although 4 individuals were detained for inciting violence. I would not describe any of these cases as serious, said duty officer Heinrich Stormer. Urinating on the street was particularly frowned upon this year, with the police issuing multiple fines to offenders.
Okay, so the people who pissed on the street were just fined.
Yeah,
They
that's a
weren't
fine. I don't
arrested.
think they arrest you
So
for
most
that.
of the arrests, I would say, was probably around
Probably
four-
drugs, probably
drugs.
yeah, people just completely, I guess in the case of a few people, probably getting out of line and trying to start a fight or something.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's pretty well behaved for nearly 100,000 people, for only like less than 50 to be arrested, or you know what I mean? Doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, it's a small number.
Because honestly, man, when people are drinking in Denmark, like at these big parties,
Oh, it's just
there
so crazy.
there are people with blood alcohol levels that are like, I would be comatose, you know, at some of these levels, and people are like walking around still somehow barely functioning. I can't imagine being that drunk sometimes. I mean, not that I haven't been like super drunk before, but it seems like more common here for people to just get really
Yeah,
wrecked.
but you don't have the Viking gene for it.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, the Viking gene makes you drink this much.
But you were here, right? You did some of the street party stuff. When
I
on
did both
Wednesday
of
or
them.
Thursday? Oh, you did them both.
I
Okay.
did both of them, yeah.
And what was your experience? It was amazing, or what?
Well, okay, so I love Distortion. It's probably my favorite event of the year, and it's been for a while now. I mean, the thing is, after you've been in this at Distortion for like 6-7 years in a row,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's fun. It's vibrant. It's exciting.
Has it lost
I don't
its
care much
magic?
about the music, to be honest, but I'm not there for the music either way. But yeah, I mean, after 6-7 years, it's just the same thing over and over, you know, which is good. I mean, when you have a good thing, it doesn't matter if it's the same or not, because if you like it, you go and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it starts losing at least the novelty factor of it, or the thing that made it different in the beginning. So having said that, I mean, it was great. It just doesn't. I mean, if someone is experiencing it for the first time, they might get all like, "Whoa, this is amazing! I've never seen this before." And after you've
You're like a
been to
seasoned
6,
veteran.
yeah, I guess
You're like,
so.
yeah, look at her
So
pissing over the
it
bridge.
was fun, and I mean, if it were 3 days on the streets instead of 2, I would have gone to the third one as well, probably. But
Do you have any great stories from the event? Did you see anybody doing anything crazy, or see anybody with any interesting clothing on, or not on, or
what did I see?
I don't know. There's always at these street parties. There's always somebody acting a fool. You know.
I saw some breasts.
Oh,
Someone topless,
okay.
just passing by. I mean, it didn't last more than 10 seconds because she was just going from, I guess, point A to point B, and showing off.
That's not illegal here, right? You like
I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know.
Because I know,
I
like in
assume
New
not.
York, I think you can be topless, right? But in certain states in the U.S., you can't be topless if you're a woman, right? Because that would be too offensive. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird about these laws about what you can and can't show and what's vulgar or obscene. Like, you probably can't just have your cock hanging out, slapping around, because that's usually considered obscene in a lot of places in the world. But breasts are maybe okay.
I believe.
I think it
she
requires
was-
further investigation.
I believe she
Maybe we should do
was-
some research and see what the laws are on public indecency here.
Is that going to change anything in your own behavior?
I doubt it. No, I think that mine's going to stay pretty reserved. I'm not usually the type to let the tits hang out.
Yeah, you don't want to get a sunburn again.
No, oh my God, I got so sunburned yesterday because I was, we were on the roof and it was 19 degrees yesterday with a nice little breeze, and so it was pretty cool. And it was partly cloudy, and so the sun didn't really feel super strong. But I mean, I was out on the roof for like 5 hours while the sun was up, and it was coming from like my left side, so my left side is even more burned than my right. And yeah, my arms and my face is a little bit burned today. I'm normally really good about sunscreen, but yesterday I got lulled into a false sense of security by the clouds. So now I look like a lobster. I got
You're
the
just
Danish
very
tan.
red. It's a very Danish.
It's a
thing
Danish
as
tan,
well,
yeah.
To get all red. I guess it's the lack of what's it, melanin?
Yeah, it's like the curse of being like a really white guy that doesn't tan well. You turn red instead of brown, and that's Yeah, that's like the curse. Like everybody else, like can get a nice healthy tan, and you just burn. So
It could be worse for it.
it could be worse, you know. Yeah, I guess so.
Worse. So Vegetable wins. That's the,
Vestibro,
if there is a
they're
prize
they're
for
the more
arrests.
naughty of the two
If there is a
groups.
prize for arrests, I guess Vegetable takes the cake. I'm proud of it. I'm
Yeah,
yeah, in a strange way, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be the one committing those offenses, especially not in Vegetable, because I could just go home if I really needed to take a piss, and I
yeah,
don't have the armband for the luxury toilets.
yeah.
Um,
You would just get a fine in that case.
no, I just go home.
Oh, you go home.
Yeah,
Okay.
I live right in the middle of the party. I
You
mean,
know,
the party literally comes to me
there's
for it.
always something to be said for taking a shit in your own toilet. Like if you're out and about and you really need to take a shit and it's an emergency, you'll do it in another toilet. But often if there's like for me, if there's any ability that like okay, this is coming but it can wait. I'd rather take a shit in the privacy of my
Yeah,
own bathroom on
who
my own throne.
who wouldn't for it?
I mean, it depends on how luxurious those toilets were. I mean, maybe they had like a velvet lining
I
around the
doubt it.
seat.
I doubt it.
I don't think so. I bet they were just like the scannable toilets that they have at Smokefest, where they bring the trailers in. That's like kind of a real bathroom in a
Yeah, yeah,
trailer.
probably something
Yeah,
like that.
where it actually has the full door and it's not just a pissoir or whatever.
Which is it's
Totally,
great.
totally
To be
usable.
honest, yeah, it's as long as. I mean, actually, I don't even know where would you take a shit if not on something like that. Like if you're in the middle of the festival, because I only see pissoirs.
Yeah, then you either gotta hold it or hang off a bridge with your friend holding you. You know that picture is just like golden. I honestly wish I could just get like a giant framed, like a high res version of that and have it
Would
framed.
you have it as a piece of artwork at your home for
I'd have it in my office.
in your office? And
Yeah.
what would be the message behind it? Like whenever you looked at it, what would, because you know people who have motivational messages or
Yeah,
just
it would be
things
like a
that remind you.
motivational thing.
Yeah, but what would it motivate you for?
What would it
To
motivate?
never be in a situation where you need
You
to take a
know,
shit so bad that you need to do it in the canal with someone holding you.
I don't know about that. When need strikes, yeah, you got to take care of business or something like that.
That doesn't sound very
Oh,
motivational
come
to
on.
me.
What? I mean, it's not the most motivational photo in the world. I just think it's funny. It wouldn't
What's the worst place you've taken a shit in public or like
in
not
public.
at home?
Yeah, yeah, like the worst conditions you've had to shit in.
Yeah.
I think it was when we were in Amsterdam, actually, when we were in that when we went to one of the first places we went to, remember? Like the first cafes we went to, and we had got that like a bong or something,
Hmm.
and we were taking some rips, and suddenly like my stomach was like grog, grog, grog.
Oh, I think I remember the one where
And
the toilet was right next to where we were, right?
yeah, and so we were hanging out in this little smoking lounge downstairs in like the little basement, not in a basement, but like a kind of a the same way you have the underground bars or like the floor level bars here in Copenhagen. And we were in there and it was kind of a chill, you know, very intimate environment. There wasn't too many people there, but there was a door directly off of the thing and there was a toilet right inside of there. So basically, I'm in there and boy, it was I mean, it was a rough one. I mean, it was mostly liquid. There was a little solids.
I remember it
Uh,
took a long time after we went there.
it was
Yeah.
like, have you ever had a soft serve kind of yogurt ice cream that comes out a little runny, or like ice cream that comes from the machine that's not quite frozen yet? I
Mm,
would say that's about the consistency, and it felt fiery too. It felt spicy, as if somebody had put some chili directly in the shit before I took it.
maybe it's your lunch.
Yeah, it could have been my lunch. Anyways, I don't know what it was about it, but boy, I really had to go. And I remember the worst thing, the toilet was nice enough. Like there was nothing terrible about the bathroom. The worst part about it is that the soundproofing didn't feel good. Like I felt like every time that I had a Canon launch in there, that people outside could hear me and that it was a pretty disturbing one. And on top of that, the smell was like, oh God. I mean, if there was a window in there or some sort of way I could have had like a mask on, I would have done it. And then the cleanup situation, I think the other really bad part was they had some of that like half ply toilet paper where it's basically like it's not even a real sheet of toilet paper. It feels like almost some silk screen embroidery fabric that it's not soft, it's actually scratchy, but it's like a micron thin and you barely touch it and just rip the sheet in half so it has no absorption capability. And so I think I had to use almost like a whole roll of toilet paper in there to actually get my ass clean enough. And then I was worried that there was still, there was like still some residue maybe.
So maybe
So,
you're just a bit
so
paranoid
then you had to
because
wet some. Well, you never, there's some dumps you take where you wipe and you're like, wow, that was remarkably clean. Like that just, there was no collateral damage there. It just came out clean. You did one wipe, there was nothing. And you're like, oh, perfect. My butthole is nice and clean. And then there's some that it's just like you keep wiping and wiping and wiping, and every single time there's still a little streak there, and you're like, well, I guess I'm not done cleaning. And that was the type it was, and then I just felt like my butthole was kind of
you need to eat your
a
vegetables for it. You need to get
little
more
stinky.
fiber.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Fiber for that.
I know. I think also usually when I travel, sometimes I have some problems, like depending on the food in the place, or you know what I mean. Like if you're not used to a particular type of food, and often I'll get some shitty street food, or I don't know, some fried food, some fast food joint, and maybe they're not that great about their food sanitation or something. I don't know. But I
Yeah,
think I
but
was
in
just feeling,
Amsterdam,
I was feeling bad, and then we had also had a big rip from the bong. That probably didn't help.
I don't know if that has any effect on my.
You don't think so?
It might have, but I mean, I know
If
it
you
does
already
mix
need
it
to
with-
take a shit and then you take like a hit or two, you don't feel like a more
I'm not sure.
pronounced?
I never correlated
okay.
it. So
Anyways, and then when I walked out, I knew it smelled in that whole, like basically the whole area down there was like blown up from my dump. And then I walked out. I mean, there's nobody else to walk out, so it had to have been me. It's like the guilty suspect or like arrives. And then I just felt like I was also a little paranoid too, because I had been in there right after, ripping that good Amsterdam weed. And I just felt a little paranoid, and I was like, I was just like, oh my God, everybody knew I just took the nastiest shit in the world in here. And I was like,
I didn't know for it.
well,
I can tell you that.
you know now.
If it makes you feel better,
well,
me
then
and the rest of the world
I
knows
got
now.
I got away with like
With murder.
pretty much. I mean, it looked like I aborted
It's
something
like just
in there.
drown the child.
I did, but I think we left right after. I was like, all right, guys, you ready to go? I was like, let's get out of here before this fully settles in and everybody really knows what happened in there at the scene of the crime.
It's like a hit and run.
Yeah, it pretty much was. It was a dump and go.
Jump and go. It's the hit and run of.
Yeah, it's kind of like the dine and dash. Oh, yeah, like
What
a
is
dump.
that? Dine and dash?
A dine and dash is when you go into the restaurant, you order food.
Oh,
and
and you
just
don't pay, you just
just
leave?
leave.
But
Yeah.
you eat the food or?
Yeah, of course. You eat
Okay.
the food and you just leave. I've never done that. I think that's
Is it common?
It's not super common, but I mean, it does happen. At least in the U.S., I know people.
I mean, if you have a term for it.
yeah,
I guess.
waiters get stuck with the bill, or yeah, they just get shafted.
Why is it the waiters? It's not the waiters.
Well, it depends on the place and stuff. It's not always the waiter's fault, but yeah, sometimes I mean the business eats the loss, and then that waiter doesn't get any tips or whatever. It's a really shitty thing to do because you're making somebody bring all that shit and cook it for you. I mean,
Oh, you're stealing. You're effectively stealing.
you're absolutely stealing. I guess some crimes are a little more. Like some thefts seem to be a little more justifiable in some people's minds. I mean, I'm not saying that they're any better or any worse, but like if you steal some little package from Walmart, like you steal a $10 item from Walmart or whatever, it feels, at least because the company is some huge mega conglomerate and they already budget in a bunch of their shit is going to go to loss, and they have like you know what I mean? It feels different than going to a restaurant where you feel like you're actually really literally taking money out of somebody's hands. The cooks that made it and the people that came and served it to you. It just seems like such a dick move. But yeah, dine and dash, dump and go. I don't know.
It's the new one. Dump and go.
Diarrhea and dash.
That's too literal. You need
Is
something
it?
more like an allegory to to actually taking a shit.
The allegory of the cave. Yeah. So that was I think that was one of my worst experiences. And it wasn't really the condition. It was basically two things. Well, first off, I had a really shitty stomach. Second, that toilet paper, I mean, you couldn't have gotten cheaper toilet paper if you had tried. Like, I don't even think that you could have made the paper any thinner, because then it would have just been like atoms.
Could you see through it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could see through the paper. Imagine you take a normal sheet of 1-ply toilet paper and then you pull it apart carefully one time, and then you take that layer and you pull it apart again. So like a 1/4 ply.
isn't one play already implying
That's
that there's
already is
only
it. Anyways, Dolph, it's one of those ones where normally you can take like maybe 2-3 squares
Mhm.
and fold it a little bit, and then it's like perfect. That's enough for you. This stuff you would have to pull like 10 squares out and then bunch it
Yeah.
up to have enough thickness. And
Are you picky about your toilet paper?
I'm not super picky as long as it's not scratchy on my butthole, but and as long as it's at least I don't need that super thick plush like
Yeah.
the one with the lamb on it is actually pretty good though, but I don't need like the teddy bear commercial one like the
Yeah.
Charmin or whatever, but to be fair, it feels quite comfortable and it is nice. But just as long as it's not that cheap like cardboard public service building
Yeah, I
toilet
know.
paper that's so damn thin.
I'm actually quite picky about it, but I haven't found my brand yet. It's like I always try
Try
different
the
one,
try the
hoping.
one with the lamb on it.
I think I have, but I mean, I just mean that I haven't found one that I'm like, okay, this is the one that I need to get
Yeah.
forever. I always keep trying different ones, and I've probably been through everything already 2 or 3 times at least or more.
Well, there's a big thing in the U.S. Now, like within the past few years, people started using baby wipes for their butthole.
I think I remember reading something about that. That was actually not that great an idea. I
No,
don't
it
know.
causes a lot of problems for the sewage system. So there's actually a whole set of lawsuits going on between the people that make these wipes and like some plumbing associations or sewer associations because on the labels of those things they say they're flushable. And I mean, if you think about the technical term, well, anything's flushable if it'll go down the toilet, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if you can get it there. But the reality is that they don't degrade, and so they cause a lot of problems for people with septic tanks, and they also like clog up generally the sewage system and stuff like that. So it is really bad if it's not a specifically designed wipe, I guess, that biodegrades quickly and all that. But there's something to be said about that nice, refreshing, and antibacterial wipe right on your butthole. Because if you think about it, I never used a bidet, and maybe I should, because I hear people that try them. They're like, "Wow, why didn't I try this sooner? Like, I feel more clean. I don't have to use much paper and all that." But like, if you got shit on your arm, would you just take a dry paper towel
no,
and wipe
yeah,
it until nothing came off of the towel? You would still have shit on your arm, for sure.
it's a good
But
point.
but that's what you do to your butthole. But you would get something like wet
Yeah, but your
and
your
soap.
butthole is not exposed to everybody like your
No,
arm is.
well, it's not. But I mean, some filthy motherfuckers don't wash their hands after they take a shit, and so you're exposed to them anyway. Um. Anyways, I think that having a little wetness down there could be good. I should try bidet sometime.
I grew up in a country with a bidet in every single household.
Do you miss it?
Um, I don't remember ever using it except when I was a kid, like a kid, elementary school or earlier, and
Yeah.
I would shit myself, and instead of taking a shower, then I guess my mom would just clean me up there. But I have never used the bidet after taking a shit ever, and I
What's
had it in every single toilet that I've used, basically.
All right. So you asked me this question. So what's the worst place you've
Wait,
ever?
wait, wait, wait. I'll answer that in
All
a
right.
second.
All right. Go ahead.
But just to stay on the same topic and bidets and stuff like that, I was in South Korea a few years ago, and you know how they have the
Squat
streams?
toilets.
No. The water streams that they just have these fancy toilets with the
Oh yeah, they have the Toto, the
water.
amazing Toto toilets that have like the nice warm jet of water that just pinpoint accuracy strikes your
Yeah, I
butthole.
think it even has some kind of camera or whatever.
Yeah,
It
it
looks for
targets in there.
the
Yeah.
brown spot and
Looks
just
right
shoots
at the
water in it.
sphincter. Yeah.
I have tried those before, and
Did you like them?
well, like is a bit too strong a word.
Did it frighten you at
Let's
first?
just. I mean, I like trying different stuff,
Yeah,
and I like.
but you knew when you went into it that it was going to shoot your butthole.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
It wasn't like a
excited. I was
surprise.
excited to try it. I was
Oh.
very excited to try it because I'd seen stuff about it online. I mean, I definitely heard about it. I just had never tried it because I'd never been in Asia before. So I was actually looking forward as soon as I got to the hotel that fuck, I'm
Like,
really
man,
excited to take a
do I
shit
do,
now
yeah, like do I
because
have a
want
shit
to try
saved up?
this.
If not, I need to eat some fiber.
And I have to say, I the first time I tried it, it felt very invasive. Like it.
Yeah.
I guess you know how it's like if you start playing guitar and then your fingers hurt because you don't have the callus on your fingers. I think my ass was not ready to have stuff.
Stream of water.
Yeah, to a stream of water just kind of pseudo penetrating. Well, it's not penetrating
It's like
it,
laser
but
accuracy though too. I mean, it's not messing around. It's not like in or around the cheek
no, it
area.
goes directly
It's
there.
like
Yeah.
directly on the sphincter.
And the one I had, you can actually adjust it if you wanted.
Oh
So
yeah,
you could
a
actually
little
move it.
warmth, a little extra pressure.
Yeah, and you could move
Did
it
it have a little joystick there,
forward.
and then you could hit a
Not
button
the
to like?
joystick, but it had some buttons, kind of like the volume buttons
Oh, I'd want like a little joystick.
on the airplanes. You know, no joystick. I
Oh.
mean, that would make it too much of a game, I guess. Which maybe
Just
that's actually
gamify it.
not the bad
Have
idea.
a little camera readout on there, and then you can use the joystick to target the areas that you need
and
the
submit
most.
the high scores online
Yeah, high
and
scores,
see
yeah.
who could clean up the most area in the
Yeah.
shortest amount of
18
time.
grams removed.
Do you think the South Korean? I mean, South Koreans are so good at all these esports.
Esports, yeah, they would be like the number one in the world at that.
Anyway, I've that was the first time I tried it, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't like this too much.
Yeah.
And I started using toilet paper after that. But before I left Korea, I was like, fuck, I need to try this again. You know, maybe it's just that initial experience that I wasn't too crazy about. And the second time, I didn't like it anymore. But I guess since it wasn't the first time, I was somehow already slightly more used to it than I was
Yeah,
before.
you got to warm up to it.
I think if I lived in a place like that, or if I was there for a long period of time, I could get used to it.
Yeah.
I think I could get.
It's like
used
a
to it.
learning curve, a learning experience. I mean, I just think you probably feel much more clean. And even though initially, yeah, I think I would be uncomfortable too because you're just not used to that sensation of like a jet stream of water. It's directly on the sphincter. You know, it's like so targeted that you're like, wow, that's a unfamiliar feeling. I think I would be a little in shock at first, but then you're probably like, wow, that's pretty nice because it's actually clean now.
Yeah, the thing is also that it's water, and I think they actually have some kind of drying thing as well.
Yeah, there's a little like a blow dryer or something,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, I was still using toilet paper, just I guess a lot less,
Yeah,
because I'd still want to dry it afterwards.
yeah, of course,
You know?
of course, you don't want to be leaking. So, but you still haven't really got to the point of what's the worst shit you've ever taken in public. Like, what's either the worst facilities or the worst experience that you've ever had?
Ooh, the worst facilities or the worst experience. I mean, I can only tell you about the first one that comes to my mind, and that was at a music festival in Portugal. And I think the first time I went to a music festival, I can't remember how old I was. I can't remember how many days it was, but it was at least like 3, 4, 5 days max. I do remember though that I didn't take a shit any single time while I was there.
Yeah,
And it wasn't that I wasn't eating, you know? I mean, I was probably not eating too much, but I was eating supposedly normally. I think my body just kind of shut down in some kind of anxiety thing, like, okay, you don't want to take a shit in a situation like this.
yeah,
But the next time, or at some other festival that I went in Portugal, after a few days, I had to take a shit. And I remember that the toilet that I went to, it already had like some shit stains around, you know? And I just felt that how I've read that sometimes women do when they go to the toilet, because they always have to sit down. So I read that it's normal. I don't know if this is true or not because I haven't seen it, but I've read that it's normal for me to just squat on the toilet as well, you know, just not to sit down on the actual toilet. And some toilets might not actually have a seat.
right, yeah. So you just got to
so that's
hover.
basically what I did.
So you did a hover shit.
There's a technical term for it.
Yeah, it's
Hover shit.
like a hover shit. You know,
Okay,
where you're like
yeah.
not actually touching down. You're just kind of hovering in place and trying
Yeah,
to
and
launch from a higher altitude.
Well, yeah, I was dropping it, not launching, but
Oh, okay,
but yeah,
yeah.
I guess it's somewhat similar.
Semantics, really.
And I wasn't working out at the time, so let's say my squat technique was far from
Ideal.
ideal. Yeah, definitely not
Perfect form.
perfect. And I don't know, it was just very awkward. I didn't fully hit the target, you know. And, I mean, I think most of it hit, but it's.
There was like one log that kind of half of it broke off the side. Or
I
what?
just remember that when I left there, I looked back and was like, all right.
You just left a problem for somebody else.
I mean, I don't think it was too bad. It was a festival, you know. What do you expect? You don't expect pristine toilets.
No.
But it's definitely not
How was
something
the
I
toilet
would have
paper?
been proud if I had done it at my grandmother's place for sure. No,
No, she would have given you probably a
I
spanking.
can't remember about the toilet paper.
Okay, so it wasn't bad enough to warrant
No,
thinking
no.
about it.
Or maybe I was just so
Ready to get out of there.
oh yeah, just so taken aback by the whole experience of squatting on the toilet
Yeah.
that whatever else was just yeah.
Have you ever had to take a shit in one of those porta potties? Or was that the type of situation you were in? Like, the portable plastic toilets that just
Oh,
have a
okay.
tank in the bottom?
Yeah, it might have been one
I've
of those.
never
I really can't
I
remember
have
if it
never
was
had
that
to
or
use
not.
to take a shit in a porta potty, but I don't think I ever want to. Because, like, oftentimes, boy, there's a tank down there. There's nothing else really filtering.
Yeah.
There's, like, 38 dumps in front of you already down in the tank. It's hot usually.
Yeah, they should literally pile up, right? I mean,
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. Those things can be really nasty. Oh, I don't even want
You
to think
know,
about it. What are we even talking about?
that's-
Taking a shit for like an
that's-
hour now. It
I
feels
don't know.
like
That's one of the things I don't miss about festivals. The whole
the toilet situation.
yeah.
Yeah, I hear Roskilde is particularly bad too. Scannable, Smookfest is not that bad.
Well, I don't know if it's that bad. The thing is, we have a big advantage because we just stay at the.
Yeah, but also just the regular
city.
toilets on site there are the trailer ones as well. Yeah, I guess if you were just roughing it in the tents, maybe it's not as good. I don't know. But I know you can also buy those nicer, like the beer can, like
Yeah, but they don't have a toilet.
yeah.
do
Well,
they?
don't they?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't think they do.
I'd want
I think
one.
it's just a sleeping.
I'd want my own personal toilet, Dolph. Or at least I can share one among the group. I mean, you just don't want the
Just
public one.
a small enough group.
Yeah, at least for shitting, man. At least for
People
shitting.
who are decent on their.
I don't know if people are decent. I've seen some things. In the
Yeah,
toilet.
I don't think anybody's actually.
I mean,
All of us.
there's
have a little bit
videos.
of-
There's like some automated toilet seat cover replacer things. I know this is a weird concept. In I think the Chicago airport or some airports in the U.S., they have public toilets where basically there is like you know how they have those seat covers. So for people like you that were doing the hover shit, instead you can you can pull a clean sheet or a cover out of a thing,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
I've
set the
seen it.
cover down
Mhm.
over the toilet seat, so you don't have to directly touch it to try to reduce bacteria or whatever. Well,
Just
in
like-
some airports, they have automated things that basically each time somebody uses the toilet, it basically like a ring or some sort of thing comes out and it introduces a new sanitary plastic sheet that covers the whole seat cover. So to do this, it rotates a bit like I guess a bit like a snake or something. Like it rotates the covering around.
Mhm.
And what somebody ended up doing was they took a shit on top of the cover,
Yeah.
and then as it rotates around and goes back into the system, it starts to smear that shit all over all the machinery, so that all the new cover that comes out is like covered in shit. It was terrible. I mean, those are the kind of people we're talking about, Dolph. Like people leave toilets in shitty condition just to be an asshole sometimes, and often just because they can't be bothered.
I think there's something more primal or biological about this because you always also hear about stories about monkeys in zoos just
Throwing
shit at people and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
It's like the ultimate fuck you.
Yeah,
or something.
there must be something within our DNA that makes us very, and also, I mean, a lot of funny stories that people and jokes like when you're a kid.
All the
Basically,
jokes are
you're
about
the
that.
starting jokes when you're very young. It's all about piss and shit.
It's like your first kind of bad word.
Yeah,
It's
I
not really a
guess
bad
so.
word. It's like he said dookie. Kids are so fucking
yeah.
easily entertained. But yeah, it doesn't change much when you get old because shit jokes are still funny and relevant, even in the later stages of your life.
Yeah, and I think it's because everybody can relate to them.
Yeah, everybody can take a shit.
Well, everybody has taken them, and most certainly everybody has had issues or incidents
Or some rough days. some traumatic times.
It happens to all of us. It's what unites us as a human race. Is
Yeah, if
the
there's one
shitting
thing that's more
experience.
common than anything else, that's probably one of them. I wonder how. I'd like to hear Donald Trump's worst shit story. Like he's probably something pretty mild. Like, oh, they didn't have any gold leaf toilet paper in there for me. I ran out of $100 bills to wipe my ass
So
with.
talking about Donald Trump, this is not really related to Copenhagen, but is there anything more about that Kofefe thing? Did
He tried to turn it into some like funny thing. He was like, I think the tweets are deleted now. Of
no,
course,
that
yeah.
one was deleted. I've noticed.
But of
Yeah.
course, you can't really delete anything off the internet. I don't really know. I mean, it's almost like he had a stroke mid tweet or something. Or he just fell asleep mid tweet, or
It's crazy. I'd love to know exactly what happened. You know,
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't mean shit.
probably pretty mild.
I maybe he was called and he pressed submit or he pressed enter by mistake, and then
Yeah.
you only saw it. He was busy and you only saw it an
Well,
hour later. I
okay,
don't
well,
know.
speaking of something about Trump that does have an impact on Copenhagen, what about this global warming thing and this Paris Accord that
Yeah, the Paris.
he's stepped out of? Because actually, Copenhagen is very near the shore and is one of the cities that'll be affected by climate change. They'll, I guess, have to start building some levees or some way to prevent the coastline from receding too much here. But what do you think about that whole situation?
What about the Trump?
Yeah, withdrawing from the Paris deal, and one of the only
mean,
countries on the earth now that doesn't participate in that.
What is there to think about it? You know,
I don't
it's
know.
like, yeah, I mean, it's not. It's not.
It's a little depressing.
It's not right. It's sad. But I mean, what the fuck do you want me to say or to do? To be fair, it's not entirely unexpected. In a way, I am actually at least I am happy. Happy is the wrong word, but at least I like that he is actually doing the stuff that he promised, because he was always like, "Oh, global warming is a hoax," and he's actually doing something about it. Not that I'm happy that he's doing something about the global warming. It's just kind of refreshing to see someone who says, "I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that," and well, guess what? He's actually doing something about it. And I guess a lot of people probably like me didn't really give him
credit for that.
Too much credit for that. It's like, oh yeah, he's just talking, try to get some extra votes from these demographics, and then when it gets to it, he'll just kind of postpone it or whatever. But he's actually doing that. That's refreshing. About the climate thing itself, I mean, it's just stupid. It's so short-sighted. The reason he said is that it's bad for American business, which
it's a little selfish.
Well, he's a businessman. I really don't think his whatever choices he makes are necessarily the best for the country. Just sees everything. He's running the country as if he was running his own business.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing with that too is what's probably going to happen is renewable energy and stuff like that is a huge industry now. And in China and in Europe, I mean, you have Vestas wind and all these other renewable things here in Europe as well. And that's big business. I mean, coal and all that stuff is not sustainable. So I think what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, like the solar panel manufacturing jobs, I mean, all that shit's going to be in China, and we're going to be missing out on a lot of it. And it'll probably be only like by some plan of like, well, maybe we should get into renewables, not because it's good for the planet, but because it's going to make us a lot of money. It's so embarrassing and a little bit sad.
Yeah, it's also
very selfish standpoint.
It's also very short-sighted in terms of in the business perspective. I feel because I mean,
it's not the long term.
It's so clear already that renewable energies are the future.
Yeah.
That if you're thinking of it from a business perspective, you just want to jump on the bandwagon while you still can.
And be one of the first adopters and get in the game and like really.
Well, I don't know if you can be the first one anymore because
what I mean is being one of the first ones to do it. Like you have so much opportunity to control the market if you're one of the first ones. One of the first few that's really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean it's a bit like that. Like the late stage capitalism type stuff where basically companies come in and buy some company out and then just fire a bunch of people, increase the cost of the product and pay people less. They basically there's nothing else to optimize, so they basically just ruin the company for the sake of making numbers look slightly better in the short term, and then they make like a huge profit selling it really quickly, and then long term like they actually fucked the business up. So it's almost like that kind of thing where you're like, well, yeah, we'll make a little more money in the near term to completely fuck ourselves over in the long term. Of course, by that point, I mean, Trump will be out of office. I don't think he gets another 4 years after this one. And who knows if he's not impeached before that time. Although I think that's kind of unlikely, but yeah, I mean, it depends on what comes out of this Russia thing. I think it also depends a lot on what he continues to do.
What does it take to get to get an American
to do the articles of impeachment? I'm not sure about all the requirements, but I think you have to have. There's some pretty serious requirements, so it's not like it can just happen super easily. But there are.
But I mean, it has happened before.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Not very long ago, in this very own galaxy we share with Mr. Bill Clinton. I was too young at the time to actually give a shit about the whole thing. But I do remember, though. I remember reading like some magazine that my parents had around, where the magazine actually published like details about literally what went on between Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know how old I was. I was like 10 years old. It was in 94. It was around 93, 94, right? So I was 10, 11 years old. For me, it was almost like reading some kind of soft porn erotica, you know?
Yeah, what did he do? He put a cigar in her vagina.
But there was something about cigar in the vagina.
Yeah, I think he put a cigar in the vagina.
And that was just one of the things.
Purportedly, it was just oral, right? But, he probably penetrated.
Well, I can't remember details, but I remember that it wasn't just one incident. There was more.
Probably
So I was
not.
basically reading a diary, like if it was some erotica literature.
Yeah.
For a 10-year-old, pre-internet, this was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm. A cigar in a vagina doesn't sound that pleasant. I mean, I don't have well, for the woman, I think. I mean, I don't have a vagina, so I can't tell you. But I mean, cigars are kind of dry. And it probably takes up any moisture there, and then like gets.
I don't know if just that outer leaf. If you don't cut this cigar, like you cut before you open it. If you're just surrounded by the leaf.
I don't know,
but it's like if I smoke and I put it in my mouth, it's not like my mouth gets dry from just coming.
I guess not. You should do some more serious testing, though.
I'm not much of a cigar smoker.
Yeah, well, you're not going to be the one smoking it.
Oh, those tests. Yeah, I need to find the right person for it. I need to find some cigar enthusiasts.
Yeah, that's right. So what else did we have? Was there's some other festivals this weekend, right?
There's a lot of they were calling it the Urban Festival Month.
Like the Urban Festival Month. Yeah, there's also this carnival type thing in Copenhagen. It's obviously, I guess it's not the real deal, right?
No, it's just a Danish version of the
but it's been happening here since 1982, and it's been known to bring as many as 100,000 spectators each year. The parade begins this Saturday, which is today when we're recording this podcast, in Kongens Nytorv, and it goes along Stroll, and it has world music performances as well as children's events that continue all weekend. You can get tickets to the main venue for 50 crowns. And you can go to like Carnival KBH.
But is there a venue or is it on the street?
I don't know.
Usually Carnival is just parades on the street. It
says venue and times vary. Fedparken.
Okay.
Fedparken, yeah.
So today and tomorrow.
They have a program, yeah. So I guess there's probably some street stuff, and then there's probably an actual actual place where they
there's a schedule and everything.
Yeah, here you go. Okay.
Is that artists?
Yeah, I guess so.
I thought it was interesting that they said it brings up to 100,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than Distortion, at least on a daily.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if there was just one year which it was crazy busy, which is that number is based on or not. But anyways, you could check out some Carnival. This looks pretty cool. And then there was also, what else did we see? There's a Copenhagen Photo Festival. A friend of ours might be interested in this one because he's a budding photographer.
Some medieval festival in Valby.
Yeah, what's that say? Copenhagen Middle Ages Market.
Middle Age Market.
A one-stop shop for quartz, jewelry, mead, and full-contact medieval combat tournaments.
I was there a few years ago.
So if you want to go jousting or something.
I was there a few years ago, and it was interesting. I mean, it was funny to see they actually have fights. Like they have teams of 5-6 people where they basically they're dressed like back in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And they have shields and some kind of bat or ram or
like
whatever.
A mace or something.
Mace, yeah. And seriously, it looked really fucking brutal. Because you basically just have like 6 versus 6. And then as soon as one of them goes down, then you start having 2-on-1, you know?
Yeah.
So as soon as the first guy goes down, you're basically fucked.
Yeah.
Or if you're the one bringing the other team down, you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
And there's people from all over the world. So there's teams from. I remember last year there were teams from, I don't know, Ukraine or something like that,
Yeah.
and they were doing pretty well.
Yeah, they used to have these old Renaissance type festivals also in the U.S., like Ren Fair and Scarborough Fair and stuff like that. And they would always usually have some sort of combat stuff, some jousting and knights fighting and things like that.
Hmm.
So that sounds pretty cool. Also, this Copenhagen Photo Festival, this thing is running from the 1st of June till the 11th. So this is like an 11-day program with all kind of, I guess, photo workshops and lectures and talks and probably some different activities to do. So if you're
Where
into,
does it take place?
I'm not sure. It says, let's see, program. I'm trying to find out where exactly it all is. This is not a very good website.
So we know it's in Copenhagen.
Yeah, we do. Says over 100 activities. I
And
guess
57 expositions.
Expositions, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of all over the
All
city.
over the city, right? Yeah. So I guess you would want to find which programs are things that you're interested in either shooting, or if it's a lecture, what talks you would be interested in hearing.
What's the website? Copenhagen
Copenhagen
Photo Festival.
Photofestival.com. Or you can probably just Google Copenhagen.
Yeah, check it out.
Photo
It's
Festival.
the best way to see if there's anything that interests you.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah.
there's the carnival.
Yeah, there's some other festivals. There's some Asian festivals, Thai, some Jewish festival going on right now. And was there something else? There's a bunch of festivals right now. So
It's the month like when the weather starts getting nice. I guess that's the time to.
yeah, I think you could check like aok.dk or cphpost.dk. They have like some events sections as what we usually take a look at.
AOK usually has, I will assume, all or many of the events going on in the city. I think that's what the website is about.
Yeah. Katy Perry is coming to Copenhagen.
Okay.
There you go. 8th of June. She's
June?
gonna be at
Oh,
Royal
that's
Arena.
now.
It's close to me.
Yeah, you're gonna see it.
No, probably not. I'm not too wild about Katy Perry. I don't really care too much for most pop music that much. I mean, if it's playing, whatever, it is what it is. It's not something I'm going to listen to on a regular basis.
From the Royal Arena?
I think if you go outside, you might be able to hear just some low background noise. I don't hear like anything clearly. You know, you could just hear something as loud, like in the distance. But yeah, that's that. We understand also that there's some drama surrounding Inga Støjberg, but it's not really clear to us exactly what's going on. There's some scandal. I guess she's being accused of doing something illegal with
Breaking
regard
the law, yeah.
to instructions regarding asylum pairs and pairs that have somebody in them that are under 18. That those people are being separated, and yeah, we've tried to read the articles in Danish. I mean, you speak better Danish than I do.
Yeah, but it was, even for me, it was quite difficult to fully grasp what was happening.
And I mean, I speak it only at an intermediate level, but any of that legalese or the lawyer
exactly.
kind of Danish, a lot of those terms, I just don't know what they are, and they don't really translate directly very well to English with things like Google Translate, which is often really bad. So if you know a little bit more about, maybe in simple terms, what exactly is going on with the Inga Støjberg situation, we'd love to hear about it. You can just email us at like unfilteredcph@gmail.com.
Feel free to elucidate us.
Or drop it on the Facebook page too. Unfiltered Copenhagen on Facebook.
Yeah, you can message us there as well.
Yeah. And I don't know. Do you got anything else? Should we just ramble on here, or are we?
I mean,
I don't know how long we've been going. Actually, maybe we should check that.
An hour and 20.
Hour and 20. Okay, we can ramble on another 10, 15 maybe.
Like that.
So yeah, we should actually plug. So we got the Facebook, unfilteredcph@gmail.com if you want to email us. And
we have the SoundCloud.
We're on SoundCloud.
We're on Stitcher.
Yeah. Again,
iTunes.
if you like the podcast, or even I guess if you don't like the podcast and you listen on Stitcher, you should leave us a review on there, like an actual star review. And I think you can write some comments. I don't think it has to be very long. But if we get actually, I think 5 written reviews on Stitcher, it improves our visibility, and I don't know, it helps us out a lot. So, yeah, if you want to do that.
I'd never heard of Stitcher before this, to be honest.
And I think
I don't know how many people use it.
And what after this, we're going to talk to maybe some of the Copenhagen moderators of the subreddit, right?
Yeah, we'll just
gonna try to reach out to them and
to make sure that we can post about the podcast there.
We don't want to spam up the shit too much. That annoying spammy
just
person.
try to be nice people.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to anything next week? Have we looked at the weather? How's it going to be next week anyway?
I do not know. What's happening next week? I'm
Well, we have.
actually not.
We didn't even talk about it. We got Monday off.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
Constitution Day.
Constitution Day.
Oh, it's like
I only
easy-
heard about it yesterday, and I could easily imagine myself showing up at work on Monday.
So let's see.
Not at the
Tomorrow.
office.
So Sunday it rains pretty much all day. That's kind of a bummer.
Oh, tomorrow. So that's
Yeah,
that's
it's a-
nice. Maybe it's a laundry day.
Yeah, maybe. Monday it's gonna be up 19, 20 degrees
the weather report now.
and no rain. That's good. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's a lot of rain.
Yeah,
I guess it's gonna be a
next week it's gonna rain a lot.
Oof,
Apparently, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe
see.
Saturday. Yeah, so I guess pretty much tomorrow it rains. Monday's clear, and the rest of the week is at least right now looking like rain.
Let's see. I've
I know the
my-
weather
my-
can
my
change
trust,
quickly.
My trust in the weather report here in Denmark is a bit.
Well, come on. I mean, you're right near the ocean. I mean, the models can only be so accurate. There's a lot of variables at play when you're near the body of water like that.
I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that.
You don't have much faith in them.
Yeah, I mean, I know that things can change.
But I mean, so since today, tomorrow's going to rain. So pretty much if you want to do something fun, unless you don't mind.
There
Unless
goes
you don't
that
mind.
carnival.
Yeah, there
huh?
goes that carnival, right? I mean,
And the middle age. Oh, the middle age.
oh, that's going to be dark ages over there. I mean, they're going to be
Yeah.
fighting in the mud and everything like that. I remember actually one year we were at Scarborough Fair, which is like the Renaissance Festival.
Where is it?
Around Dallas, Texas. And 1 year we were there and it was raining, like it had been raining a lot. And so it was really muddy. And they just started having like fights in the mud, people just like naked and just wrestling in the mud and doing all this kind of crazy stuff. And it was just interesting to see in like a kind of a Renaissance environment where it's like more people are just out in the middle of nature and with the elements and all that, just going kind of nuts.
I mean, to be fair, if you're in a place like that, if you're really emulating how it was back in the Middle Ages or
Yeah.
whenever it was, and it rains, then you just have to take it. I guess it's not like they had malls to go into.
I remember my favorite part about those was always watching those old school jesters, this is like the stand-up comedy of the day.
Yeah.
But they would have like guys that would sit there and just start roasting people in the crowd, and it was so good. I remember I laughed so hard at some of those things.
I remember seeing when I was at this one in Valbu a few years ago. I remember seeing someone. I guess they were juggling and they were kind of how do you call it? Interacting with the
crowd.
the crowd as well. I think he said something to me or about me as well. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, those jester, I guess the entertainment.
He didn't hit you with a
back in
good
the day.
burn? You don't remember?
I don't think so. I really don't remember.
I love a good roast.
But I do think I replied to him and I said something that made me feel good on the inside. You know, those butterflies. Those, ooh, there's a shot of adrenaline there because I just gave him a really good. Well, I don't know if it was really good
Response.
But, yeah, but I think he. Oh, no, I don't remember. I could make something up, but that's not the kind of person I am for it.
No. Yeah, I don't know what the plans are next week. So Monday is off. That's going to be nice.
I'm not doing any. Well, I don't have anything planned next week yet.
No, me either.
It's,
And then when we have Smokefest coming up in
When is it? It's in 2 months.
50-ish days, 60-ish days.
60 days, yeah.
I don't know. Is it? I don't know what the dates are for Smokefest, and I don't
But
even
it's
know.
the beginning of August.
I don't even know what the program is for this
Who
year.
cares?
Well, of course not. but
I've never been there for the program.
no, it's from August 9th to August 13th, rather. So that's 2 months away, basically.
Yeah, it's. I was telling earlier that Distortion is probably my favorite event of the year, and I think Smokefest so far is my second favorite event of the year.
So who's the big names?
Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai, that's a big name. Major Lazer.
Ellie Goulding.
Ellie Goulding, that's a big name. These are others I don't really know necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think I know the others.
Okay. Well, DJ Snake.
Doesn't really strike me as. I mean, to be fair, the tickets sell out.
No matter who
They
is
sell out
actually
on
playing.
on the first day. So before they announce anyone, so they don't really have much pressure to get the really great or big names because people go there anyway. It's in the middle of the forest. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that they actually don't sell too many tickets, maybe to not get it super overcrowded,
Yeah, yeah.
but the environment is just so nice in the middle of the forest. There's music, there's people having fun.
It's a
It's
little more laid back than other
it's very
festivals,
laid
right? It's
back.
like you have a little bit of an older crowd. I think average age there is around 30 something,
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely
an older crowd.
an older crowd. If you, it's not just,
Oh yeah,
let's
it's
say,
not just
teenage. It's not
only
mostly
young.
teenagers. No,
Yeah.
it's quite diverse in
But
that
it's
sense.
amazing. I'm looking
It's
forward to it. And again, you're right. Normally it's not about the music on that festival. It's just more about the environment and like the experience.
well, we also, yeah,
We're
we,
lucky because we also have an office down there that we can stay in
yeah, it's basically our company. It became a kind of a yearly thing
to go to the
to get,
festival.
yeah, to get together all the people from the company, almost like a team building thing.
It is a team building. It really is. So
Well, it is. I mean, you really develop a stronger bond with your colleagues
when
by
you
just,
party with them.
well, yeah, when you party, I guess,
Yeah.
when you have these things.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited about it. I think even last year the same thing started happening, as I told earlier with Distortion. That, I mean, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's great company. Sometimes there's nice music, sometimes there's not, but it's still the same as it was last year, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's great, and I love being there, and I love going, but it doesn't have that novelty factor anymore,
No. Well,
unless they finally add the, I don't know, the midgets jumping through fiery hoops, you know. That would make it different.
yeah, that's true. Everybody likes midgets jumping through fiery hoops, though.
It's like make it make it a bit more circus like.
Yeah. Oh, new Game of Thrones coming pretty soon, I think.
When
I'll have to check, but it's not.
it's
I mean, the new House of Cards just came out, so I just finished season 5. Like I watched that whole thing.
I haven't watched.
You need to. You need
I
to.
haven't watched. I know I'll love
I'm
it,
telling
and
you, man.
I've been trying to stay away from TV series because it just consumes my life until I finish them, and then I finish them and I start watching a new one, and it's just a vicious circle, you know. It's like I think I'll save more time if I just shoot up heroin or something like that.
Yeah. When is season 7 supposed to be?
Of what, Game of Thrones?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. Like season 7 air date or something.
Wasn't season 7 the previous one?
It was it?
I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either. When's the release date for season 7? July 16th, 2017. So
Oh,
that's
in a month.
Yeah, a month away.
5 weeks.
So there you go. And I think you also have a new season of Orange is the New Black coming out. So yeah, I've caught up on House of Cards. I guess I'll check out Orange is the New Black.
I'm a lot more excited for the
Game of Thrones.
tonight's UFC actually.
Oh yeah, is it what is it? UFC 213 tonight?
212. And it's gonna be
212. What's the card?
The main card is gonna be Aldo. It's in Brazil, so it's gonna be Aldo versus Max Holloway for the unification of the
For the featherweight
belt,
championship.
because Aldo is the what you call it, like the Max is the interim champion,
Yeah.
and Aldo is the
Reigning.
real champion,
Okay,
reigning
yeah.
champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm very excited for the women's the co-main event, which is Claudia Gadelha versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
She's Polish or what?
Yes, and she's my favorite, or one of my favorite female fighters
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen her fight. Is
I
anybody
really
else
like
good
her.
on the card? Oh, you got Vitor
Well,
Belfort.
they have Vitor Belfort
Oh,
on
and
his.
Nate Marquardt. That should actually be decent.
It's well, the thing is, they're both old as fuck now.
I know, but still, I mean,
And
those guys were serious back in the day.
Yeah. And Vitor is he's been saying it's his last fight, so this is going to be
Go
his
out
last
with a
fight
bang.
in his homeland, because this is actually taking place in Brazil.
Yeah. And the undercard doesn't look that interesting, does it? Let's see. Nothing really.
It's okay. I mean, I'm excited for the main event, for the co-main event, and for Vitor as well, I guess.
Yeah, I think probably the main event is the Claudia and Carolina fight, and then Vitor Belfort and Nate Marquardt. That should be interesting.
I
Maybe
think
there'll be something good. There's always usually something on the undercard that stands out as a good fight that you didn't really expect.
there's usually good fights. I mean, just because
Yeah.
people are not known doesn't mean that they are not good at
Right.
entertaining, you know? But the thing is, most of the fights that I watch, I just love so many different fighters, and I usually don't pick sides, you know? I just want to watch a good fight, and I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
But this is actually one of the first times where I am picking sides, because I really want Carolina to win.
Yeah. Well, so you'll see that tomorrow
gonna
morning.
I'm gonna be suffering. I'm actually going to be suffering a little bit while watching this because I'm going to pick a side.
Yeah.
And let's hope I don't get too disappointed.
Yeah. Well, so that's that. Did you have anything else? I mean, we've been going, what, about an hour and 30, hour and 40 now?
Yeah, maybe
Try to
around
keep
that
them under
for it.
2 hours. That way we don't have any problems with the upload limits and stuff like that.
That's okay for it. We can go enjoy the sun now because it's actually
Oh, you
sunny
gotta have
today.
some of this. You gotta have some of this ice cream.
Oh, and I need to try some of that ice cream.
All right,
I guess.
we're gonna do that. So,
all right. Woo-hoo.
thanks for joining and listening, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully, it's not a rainy week, but
Yeah.
we're gonna see. See you guys then.
Ta-ta.